We are joined now by Malala Yousafzai, the world's youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate and the author of I Am Malala. In October 2012, while on a school bus, a Taliban gunman tried to assassinate her for advocating for the educational rights of women and girls. Malala was struck in the head with a bullet but survived. The attempt on her life sparked international outrage. And Malala, it is so good to see you.
Thank you so much.
And welcome to Washington. What do you think will happen to the gains made by women and girls in the past 20 years?
There were 0 girls in school in the past government of the Taliban. Right now, so many children were in school, they were getting their education, and 39% of those children were girls. So girls were in school, they may not be able to go to their school again. And the women and girls I have talked to, they have shared this concern. And a lot of them right now want to be in a safe place, or they want the Taliban to actually guarantee to them that they are safe in their work.
What are you hearing from your Afghan friends about how women and girls are doing right now?
Girls are afraid to go to school. They had dreams and they're worried that they may not be able to sit in a classroom anymore. Women are worried about going to work. They are constantly under the surveillance where people are watching them over, how they act, how they speak, how they behave, what they wear, how they dress. Their rights are denied to them.
Are there girls in school in Afghanistan right now?
Right now, there are mixed reports. The Taliban are trying to show that they are allowing women at universities and in schools. However, the issue is that in many areas, the people that I have spoken to and the reports that I have seen shows that there are many girls who cannot go to school right now. They're stopped from going to school, or they're either told that they do not have female teachers yet, so they will have to wait for male teachers, or they do not have a male chaperone. So I think sometimes these things are used as excuses to make it more difficult for girls and women to have access to these opportunities.
Well, and I hear that women are not allowed to play sports.
Yes, women are not allowed to play sports. They're not allowed to be in the cabinet and in higher positions as men. They're not allowed to sit in those big meeting rooms. And I think this is a really tragic moment for the activism that we have done for women, that the Afghan women have done over the past 2 decades. And I think all that has been achieved is at risk.
Was it a mistake for America to withdraw from Afghanistan?
Just going into understanding the politics of what has happened in the past 40 years will take a long time to process. For us, it's a long history, and there are so many people to blame in this war. I do not think that America's presence in Afghanistan was a solution in any way at all. You cannot sustain peace by having military presence forever. That is not peace. Real peace is when you do not need soldiers. Real peace is when you do not need these weapons and an army to protect you.
But their presence did help many Afghan women and girls.
I wish there had been more focus on the humanitarian causes. There had been more focus on empowering the local people, empowering local women and girls. And we did see that the progress that had been made had an enormous effect. We see that right now, the way that Afghan women are speaking out, they're on the roads, they're on the streets. This was not seen in late 1990s. Right. So right now, we are seeing a different Afghanistan, and that is because of the work that has been done for education and for the rights of women.
It was remarkable to see women protesting in the streets, and that's because that seed of democracy had been planted in many ways by having Western forces there and all of the humanitarian efforts that had been done by many individuals. But I know you have been critical of the war on terror. Many years ago, you met with President Obama, then in the Oval Office, and you told him to stop the drone attacks.
I'm a pacifist, and I do not believe in wars. I do not believe in the use of terror. I do not think that terror and wars can actually solve global problems. And even when we talk about fighting against terrorism, we need to fight against an ideology, not the people. Right? And this is a lesson that must be learned from this 20 years of war on terror, that the American troops, the NATO troops were there for 20 years, and still the Taliban are back in power. It's more an ideological fight. And we can only fight against indoctrination and against extremist ideology through enlightening education.
Why do you think the Taliban is afraid of educating girls?
When women and girls are educated, when they are aware of their rights, when they know that Islam allows them to have equal rights, then these women can challenge them and they can tell them that you cannot say this to us. So I think, awareness, education, enlightenment is dangerous to the ideology of the Taliban or any other extremist group that is out there.
So if you were able to meet with President Biden, what would your message to him be?
I would definitely ask him to stand up and support the rights of women in Afghanistan and stand up for girls' education. We cannot lose the gains that we have made over the past many, many years. It's the decision of the US and other countries that have led to the situation that the people of Afghanistan are witnessing right now. So he has a huge responsibility. And in this moment, we must not forget that it is the people who suffer the most. It's the civilians who lose their homes, who become displaced, who lose their loved ones, and who lose, the peace that they had before.
Let's talk about the new Taliban leadership and their government. No women, full of hardliners, even a man who is on the FBI's most wanted list. How dangerous is this new Taliban government?
The Taliban government, we all know the record and the past history of many of them. And so far, they are, adopting a very soft tone, and they are saying that they have declared an amnesty for everybody. They're saying that they would not harm anyone. They would allow women, to do work. They have been a bit vague in their message, but in this time, we need to look at their past and see what they have done. We cannot be blind to that.
Do you trust them?
I would not be able to live in Afghanistan. And it is very difficult for many women right now to live in Afghanistan. And a lot of them are seeking safety outside the country. In order to take the confidence of the public, the Taliban leadership must show that they can form an inclusive government. Otherwise, looking at the current structure, I don't think there is hope.
What was it like as a young girl living under Taliban rule?
Women were flogged on the streets. They were stopped from going to market, and it was life under fear. I was attacked because of my activism for girls' education, because I raised my voice. Since then, my story has been known worldwide. But there are so many people out there, so many young girls and women who have faced worse situation than me, and who have lost their lives. We do not know their names, but they have given their lives in this war.
That's your fear, is that Afghan girls will be targeted like you were?
My fear is that Afghan women, Afghan girls, Afghan minorities will be targeted for speaking out, for asking for their basic human rights. I'm worried about girls who want to wear their school uniform and simply go to school.
If there's a young Afghan girl watching this, what is your message to that girl?
My message to every girl always has been that they must believe in their voice. This is about your future. This is about your dignity. This is about your human rights. And it's your voice is very much needed in this moment. Sometimes you hope that somebody else will do something for you and speak out for you. Sometimes the world is silent and the world doesn't do anything. So you must raise your voice and you must speak out for your rights.
You always make me tear up when I hear you talk about that. I want to show you a story in The Economist magazine this week. It says, "Why nations that fail women fail." We know that societies that treat women badly are poorer and less stable. What must the world do now?
When you ensure every girl access to complete and quality education, it adds up to $30 trillion to the world economy. When girls are educated, it halves the risk of conflicts. When girls are educated, it improves economies and helps us tackle climate change. It reduces poverty. So the advantages of educating girls are enormous.
I know that you just had your 6th surgery just a few weeks ago. How are you doing?
Well, I'm very well right now, and the incident happened 9 years ago, but it takes a while to recover from just one bullet. But I'm deeply concerned about what's happening in Afghanistan and about the future of Afghan women and girls. And in this war, there have been so many people who have taken bullets, who have lost their homes, who have lost their businesses. And, just looking at, just my one story, you realize like how one person's life can change. But there are people who are in a more difficult situation, and I'm deeply concerned about their life.
Well, Malala Yousafzai, I know this is your life goal, and there are many women who are joining you in it. So thank you for leading on that.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Yeah, thank you.